god.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're taking a look at D.LEAGUE today. This is round 2, match 4 between the ROYALBRATS and KADOKAWA Dreams. This is going to be a very interesting match because both of these groups are known for being pretty clean. You know, I would say the next one would be KADOKAWA versus Cyber Agent. Whenever we get to that matchup, that's going to be so interesting. But we're taking a look at this one. It's going to be fun. What we're going to do is take a look at each one, and as I watch each one, I do a full analysis, kind of breaking through what my personal thoughts are, how I would look at it from an adjudication standpoint, and kind of how I think it would fare. As soon as both go, I kind of place my guess on who I think took the match and who I think got the audience point. I'm not quite at the place where I can give actual point values because I'm not super familiar with the criteria yet, but as we go through the rounds, I have a feeling I'll get more confidence, and so far I'm doing pretty good. I think the very first match, I didn't quite get it, but so far I've been pretty solid on the audience votes, and I've been doing pretty good on the judges' side from match 2 on. So, but it's gonna be really fun. Let's go ahead and get into it. Oh my god. Whoa! Oh! I don't think I've ever seen a concept like that. That was so cool. I have no idea what's on their shirts that could play a role in this. Whoa! That was so interesting. That was so interesting. They didn't have a single lighting outside of just the singular one, and it was astronomically captivating. That was amazing. Okay, wow. Walking through, the importance when you have that metronome, they have to make sure that they're stepping at the right time, because whenever you have somebody so obviously not on that metronome, it's going to help us be able to clock it so much faster. And that's a really nice captivating thing about this, is everybody committed to the exact tempo that they were given. I love that time. And I know we kind of repeated time. Notice not a single person did anything with their face. Very impressive there too on the performance. That's slow. There's different sounds and they're interpreting them so well. Very interactive. It's cute, it's tasteful, but even their tuts are in line with each other. Very impressive too in the formations and just the weaving in between. There's just so much artistry behind the risk taking of going from here and rotating back, going through, accelerating. There's just, it's so overwhelming. It really is in the best way possible. Just the quickness, even here, everyone's on the same page. Boom, boom, they all move around. I would say just slightly off on the spacing. I would say one of them went a little too far out, but it's still very minimal issues on this time. And notice with the head, even the placement with the head, everybody followed through on the details when they needed to. Like, everybody had their own personalized timing for the entire set. Not a single person had the exact same thing happening with each other. And in most cases, it's not quite the thing, but truly, this is one of the most customized routines with 8 people I think I've seen in a very long time. It's so interesting. The boom, and I love that, and they kind of drop down. Notice the BPM's getting a little faster. One of them's a little bit faster. Super fun. There's just a lot of ongoing themes of the commitment to this kind of tight angle with the swing, dropping down, creating this, you know, it feels like an automatopoeia almost. They also look like crash test dummies in the fun way. That time, where they're looking is very important. This part, we go boom, love that. Turning it around, then boom, boom. One of them, the airtime, sick on that. And it's important that he had to get high for us to really clock it in the back. That was cool. Going through, boom. I think this is the fastest analysis I'm gonna ever do because there's really not like a ton going on, but there is so much going on. I love this, the formation, the rotation, having one of them look, then having him shift in, look at the formation happening in the center, then the rotation happening around, and they're getting faster. With the hops, once again, spacing's just slightly off on this side, but it could be because my guy over here stopped. So it could be that. Yep, having this moment with the little hops happening, then having everybody facing opposite sides, walking through. And I love the usage of them just walking away, but you can still barely see them having this moment right here. They'll do notice that it's just slightly off on that, but it's still very clear with what they were trying to come across. Like, it's very clear. Then a lot of ding, 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 bringing it up, running through, hopping through. So they have a lot of overlap of movements here, and it's just kind of bleeding over. I don't know if they're making different characters, like Japanese characters, or if they are emulating something and dealing with acceleration, because the name of the track is Accelerate, so that's why I got Crash Test Dummy, because everyone is all wearing the same, even all the way down to the hair and the makeup. So I really feel that there is a theme going on here. There's a chance that I'm not super aware of the type of theme. I think that's totally okay. It's still so captivating and beautiful. This feels like art. I love it. Like, put this mess in an art exhibit. I would watch this all the time. And having that notice how they build up the energy here, and then in the back, and then having one of them just be completely still. Notice though that my guy right here, I think he's a little too high, so maybe dropping him down a little bit more. I'm assuming these are supposed to be symmetrical on both sides to really help carry what's going on in the center. Dropping it through that, woo, and then the march right here. Now notice how fast we're getting. Nice little add-on, but notice my last guy didn't do the hop. Why? Because there wasn't enough time. It says time a lot in here. There's not enough time for him to do the jump and then be able to jump right back in for when they're starting the unison section. So it was a great call to have him do that move but not fully commit to the jump, and it didn't show that he was trying to commit to the jump. He finished it and then he joined right back in with everybody else. Now, notice one of our guys is getting a lot faster. This section is very impressive because to actually be in sync in this way, switching between these angles at this speed, so impressive. Look how fast. That right there, time. With the run, I love that. They're running back in, running backwards. Just the complexity of having somebody run backwards but be able to be in a formation with 2 people that were able to run forwards. This is amazing. And notice that he didn't really have to move at all. He just rotated. So it shows that he had to have some sense of familiarity to be able to go backwards, to be in this position. He had a little bit more liberty to get in the spot that he needed to be, but honestly, he had the toughest job, and this was pristine on this transition. Running down, now having other people join. Goodness gracious. Like, the complexity of the transitions into the formations, this is top tier. Like, for me, they would be getting pretty close to full marks on my end in terms of just getting the formations where they need to be. It's just, there's some baby spacing things, but just the difficulty of not even looking where you're going, but being right in line with someone is, people really don't understand how difficult that is to practice that. And then they go whoom, 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 diving it down. Now we're back here super fast. Notice how fast they're going. You can see their skin. get all like super, super rigid on that. Ooh, and this switches through. I do feel like maybe if we factor in the spacing between our legs as we do this rotation, I think that could have really helped make this look even more uniform, but this is still wonderful in and of itself. This part right here, D, but keeping, honestly, such a leg workout having to do this too. Dropping it down, I think we could have been a little bit cleaner on that drop down, but we come right back up, finishing it right here. This is so impressive. They're just building it to such a suspenseful place because they're just going and going and going. And then they do this drop out of the BPM. This is so impressive. And then it goes, and then she has her moment, dropping forward and then having the jump right here. Then they're moving, everybody's interpreting it. We have this flip action happening in the back. Then we slow it down. Everybody goes away to the back except for one of them, and it kind of features in the very beginning what we saw. Slows it down. He goes time, and it just blacks out. Whoa to this. This makes me very intrigued on what Kadokawa is going to bring, because that in concept is very, very captivating and very different than a lot of how all of the excerpts I've seen from the show. But remember, I'm only 2 rounds in, halfway through of round 2. And there's years of concepts and rounds that have taken place prior to my eyeballs being exposed. So there's a chance there has been a concept like this done before. For me, I have not been exposed to a concept like that often, especially executed as well as that. That was very nice, and it kind of took me back for a second. It made me feel like we were just appreciating art together, and that's a really great place to be. So let's go ahead and check out Kadokawa. Ooh. Oh my God. Yes, 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 yes to that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. I got a little teary-eyed watching that one. Ooh, that one could potentially just, this is just like my personal, like my own personal list. That could potentially be like my favorite routine of the round, because last round it was Cyber Agent Legit. That one was legit. That was gorgeous. Whoa to that. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I guess we can only begin at the beginning, right? But that took me somewhere. That was amazing. Wow. I was not expecting that at all. This just the slow motion here, just slow-mo walks, different pacings that were taking place. I love the hinge over, allowing that moment. That took me on such a whirlwind of emotions. Just having the one person, we come in, showcasing the reveal, the beauty of just, I think lighting is just so beautiful in this league. I think it really helps us be able to bring so many concepts to life, you know, because the dancers are amazing, right? And we can do so much with lighting. And I just appreciate the fact that we get to have lighting as a form of the art to really help. This was art as well, just like what we saw from ROYALBRATS. This is going to be a really tough match for me to like really sift through and think who would take this, because I think both were so interesting in different ways, you know? But going from here, looking at this, I love how they have it set up. The beauty of the stillness of the cube, then when you see it in motion and then when it stops at the end, it's just such a beautiful Oreo cookie of amazement, you know? The intention of how he takes it, he rotates, we all begin. I love that boom right on the piano. It's nice and slow. The intention he has on this cube. He has a very important role to make sure that cube stays rotating the way it needs to. So but having the levels represented, somebody completely on the ground, somebody on the ground, but not fully on the ground. And then having going from here and then an interruption and then right there to finish out that phrase of a slow-mo. This right here is so nice, boom, boom, and we're building it up with the energy, nice, hitting it through. Everybody interprets it their own way, but then having two people complement each other where there is still structure. So you have these three, they are doing their own thing, but at least level-wise, they're on the same level, but they're still individualized, and they are facing similar ways. Then we have our two right here, individual, but establishing correct level and direction. And that's why it feels structured, yet very independent at the same time. And then having the angstiness and the emotion carried from our center is just beautiful. And I love how they reverb down and he reverbs up. Oh my God. Then they go nice speed change. Then they switch. Then he goes and he's still rotating it. That's here. This is just so beautiful. Yeah, boom, here with the... I'm such a sucker for waves. And that was a freaking great one if I ever saw that right there. Boom, into the head ISO variant, dropping it down. That right there, boom, boom, boom. The stability required to be able to hold that so still, and everybody's still creating motion. And that's a really beautiful point I want to make, that a lot of times I do talk about whenever we're pretty stagnant for an extended period of time, that can really take away from either the complexity or the overall presentation and performance of what we're seeing. It can kind of make it a bit simpler and not in the best way, but here is a beautiful example of, even though the features are happening in the center, there's so much depth happening surrounding and framing them, it's just truly beautiful. Dropping it down, boom, and they drop completely except for one of them. She creates a more like feminine kind of sitting in the hip. Such grace. There's so much grace embedded into this. They drop down, boom, and then they speed change it over. Gorgeous to that. They come up and then having, I think that's a Satsuki, right? Here's the thing, if you got into D.LEAGUE because I'm in D.LEAGUE, Satsuki, this guy right here is who we get to say thank you to, because I followed him on Instagram. And there was another guy, Junpai, he was in ROYALBRATS, the other match that we just saw. They're the two, and I saw him, he represented KADOKAWA Dreams. I had no idea what this league was until I saw excerpts, and I'm like, I'm sold, let's watch it. And so we say thank you to Satsuki every time we see him represent, and he bodied this. This was incredible from his team, and from his performance was so nice. I love how he's complimenting it in opposition in the direction. They come around and then everybody boom, boom, boom. You can even just see the intentionality of the exact position that they're choosing to lock that down in. Whew, this took me to a place, guys. This is so gorgeous. I love having the energy in the back while she's traveling to the front. It feels like a pull. That was just such a gorgeous dynamic that we got to see there. Diving it through, go back in, boom, really nice, beautiful in unison. Dropping down, boom, 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 boom. Love the breakage happening in this center. Still having that cube rotate. I love it. It kind of has this, it makes sense with the concept. It kind of feels like we're like trapped in a music box, but it's rotating, so we get to be brought to life. And once that cube stops, our world stops. So it feels angsty. It feels like there's depth to this. It feels like there's, we want a sense of survival, not really survival, but like yearning. It really gives off that energy, and they carry it so well. I love this boom, boom, boom. Just that with the, oh my God, the musicality on this is so captivating. I mean, the musicality and all of the ones that I've seen, but this one, there's just such beauty in the organic tonal color of the piano. You know, it's so tasteful, and it feels so vulnerable because there's not so much happening except for the depth whenever they choose to lower the octave and some of the chords. It's just that part right there. Just notice the beauty and the simplicity, yet they freaking ate that. Do you know what I mean? Like, dun, 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 just seeing that glitch effects, dropping it down to have people add on is just phenomenal. You see the captivation of the audience coming up. Slight spacing thing here. Notice that we're a little bit too far apart over here. So that would just be my note, to have these two back up ever so slightly, but it's still very minimal because of the captivation of what they're doing and everything else. Waving it through. Love that pull right here. The rotation, still having him have his moment. Now, the cube has not been moving now. It is stagnant. Notice there's a shift in the energy. Everybody's down on the ground. They all do a forward roll, and he's traveling it, puts it on somebody. My God! And then they're all here with the little glitch. They are complementing the movements that they've set in the features in the unison, and that's what makes the features not only look captivated in the complexity, but you get to see the complexity transferred over into everybody to show competency of the group. And that is freaking phenomenal what we're seeing here. The energy of the drop right there, I think one of them was just ever so too early on that, but it was gorgeous. I love their running and they drop. It's just, and it matches the ebb and the flow of the piano so much. One of them is still there. They were stuck. They couldn't move until he lifted. They're there and then lifts it up. They're coming and humming around. Great usage of levels, having this energy from the side. You see how excited I'm getting? I get really excited when I'm like really in it and we're just talking through it and I'm feeling it and I am getting it. Whew, goodness. I feel like I'm running out of breath whenever I talk about concepts like this. This was, oh my God, they just rolled backwards and then they had this accent with the back. Ready? Oh my God, that was so cool. You know, and then having this energy of how she accented it with the it felt like a jumping jack in the sky. And then they all hit it right here. Notice their hold here. We actually got to go back because I was so focused on this feature in the front. We've got to see what's happening. They're rolling around the back and they stop to allow this moment to really be seen. Beautiful choice of transition and beautiful choice of the formation, because you notice if they were still moving, it wouldn't have been as easy for us to clock this moment because they were still. And you still have Satsuki carrying that block while they had that moment take place. They had it. And it was honestly, it felt like she was doing a calypso at the end, one of our dancers. Yeah, it feels like she was just doing kind of, so my recommendation for her is really be very clear if she wants to do an attitude. Not the one who did the flip, but the one who did like that, they did like chanets, and they did a chanet into like kind of like a double attitude is what it looked like. So that would just be my note, really make sure that we point the feet there. God, it was gorgeous, the timing on that. They roll those feet down, they drop back up. Here we go. Now we're back to unison. Satsuki's there rolling it, the presence of him just being there. This is the easiest set for him to do. I would want to be him because he's just going to be a part of greatness is what this feels like. But he carries this so well in how he chooses to present himself. He has to carry the performance because he's the one that's an outlier here. Everyone's got like the accents of their drapery of like that tutu. He's got it like around his neck, so he looks like a natural feature. So he has to carry it. It's just, I love this where he turns it the other way. It's just a simple hinge around, but noticing the swings and the add-ons, that was gorgeous. Going from the front to the back. Then they switch it up. Building, you notice it's so much more full in the piano arrangement. There's so much more. It's just, there's much more chords being represented in the track. Bringing it around. They're holding it. He gets to have his moment. That bump, 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 bump. But notice they were still holding it. They still allowed to peel out with the upper body to allow there to be some level representation and to show a sense of wonder with how the cube is staying there when Satsuki does not have his hands on it. Really nice here. Boom, boom, boom. Notice he's carrying the presence with these hits internally, doing these chest bops. I love it. They're going back in. Dun, dun. Really nice. Yearning and pulsing throughout a lot of these movements. Dropping it down. I love this here. Notice we just have a slight spacing thing right here once again, but even then it is way more minimal here than it was earlier. I know it looks like we're splitting center, not entirely sure, but I love that turn down right here and they're all frozen. It's still the only one. Look at his finger waves and then he chooses. He doesn't change the pacing of this. He just changes the direction. And that's honestly really hard to keep this the same tempo, but allow your hand to hit a different rhythm and texture entirely. That's freaking hard. That's so gorgeous. And how he says it, boom, boom. This is a style that we normally see on social media. If you do follow him, he does have a pretty heavy following because he does this style very, very well to tracks. And I love how he hits it, boom, boom. And having his moment, I think is just absolutely gorgeous and so needed. And then it stops. And it freezes perfectly where it started. My God, what the crap was that? Do you know what I mean? Okay, who do I think took this? My personal preference right now, I really like KADOKAWA. I think ROYALBRATS brought such an interesting concept. It was so intriguing. It really was. When it comes to, if we look at all the categories, I would say concept, both did very well. I would say ROYALBRATS brought a concept that was very, very off the wall, and it worked really well. However, I feel that when you look at all the other categories of all the styles represented, KADOKAWA brought a lot of depth to the styles they presented. A lot of popping and waving, and they had an incredible musicality. Both of them did, but I think that KADOKAWA had more refinement of their musicality compared to ROYALBRATS. So I have a feeling, I mean, honestly, audience vote can swing either. I have a feeling I, as a judge, would probably vote KADOKAWA for what I had already mentioned. Complexity was there. I would say the formations levels were represented. I also think the overall music production, both were top tier. It was great. You're really comparing apples and oranges to this, but if you're looking at, I think one of the main calibers, I think it could be close or it could be a shutout. I really don't know, but I really think with KADOKAWA, I think they're probably going to pull the win on this one. Audience, there's a chance audience may pull for KADOKAWA too, just because of the captivation of how they really went for it and they built it. And there was emotional manipulation that took place with KADOKAWA. But with ROYALBRATS though, that took a completely different turn and it fell off the wall and unhinged and it made you left like baffled in a great way too. So maybe I may just do this for the sake of my own like emotional investment in this, because for me, I loved KADOKAWA's, but that doesn't mean that everybody else did. But I mean, we're playing audience. So I'm going to say KADOKAWA took it, I think, compared to the two. But both were phenomenal. We just want to put that out there. Let's watch the judges.
美術館に飾ってもいい発想力すごいですよね。
瞬間芸術だなと。こう緻密な構成もすごく多かったと。瞬きができないぐらい。
I don't know. I think KADOKAWA took it.
Round 2, fourth match.
Simply because they had way more content and depth behind their dynamics and techniques. But the concept of ROYALBRATS was so cool. Is it a shutout? Ooh! Ooh. Okay, so I did say it was either going to be super, super close or a shutout. So that makes total sense why KADOKAWA took it. I mean, you saw how I felt, but I didn't know if it was because of my like emotional feels for the contemporary aesthetic of it mixed with a lot of the integration of the styles. My God, though, I'm so glad I got awarded for that. But ROYALBRATS, I don't want them to feel like their concept wasn't good. That was a freaking sick concept, but I just don't know if it was the right week to pull it for what KADOKAWA brought. Woo!
僕はですね、
Woo! My God.
avex ROYALBRATS からいくと、厳しく言うと柵に溺れたなという感じかな。ああいうちょっとこうなんだろう、マスゲーム的な構成の作り方とかって立体台とかがねよくやるようなでもあるように、よくダンサーも振り付けの中でこの表現で使っていくんですけど、それをちょっとこうね面白い動きでやってくれたところはすごく一般の人的には分かりやすかった。ただダンスが見たかった。
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. They did not have enough dancing. Hence why I was like, it's either the concept's going to carry them or it's going to be a shutout.
だけでもいいから起きたかみたいな。この構成をこのダンスで見せるのかっていうところが来てくれたら結果もしかしたら違ってたかもしれないけど、ちょっと最後の最後までそれがなかったので、ちょっと残念だったかなっていう、すごくアイディアは良かったけど単純にダンスが見たかった。で対するKADOKAWAドリームスはもう始まりの フォーメーションがあってこう女の子が一人スローでウォーキングしてくると、もうこの時点でこっちから普通に歩いてきて、最近の
I may just have to watch
映像とかで
this
も
one again on my own time just for the sheer. I thought that was effing beautiful. This was phenomenal.
真ん中の四角のオブジェの使い方もものすごく良くて、ね、なんか作品として美術館に飾ってもいいような感じぐらいの作品だったかなっていう、ともかく感動しました。その
It was
振り付けのアイディアも全部良くて、僕今回だけ点数一番彼らいいんですけど、ダンスの良さと作品の良さとなんか全部が詰まった。
Honestly, this would, if a routine would get a 10 for me on musicality, it would be this one right here. 1,000%. If I were to give a perfect score in any category for musicality, it would go to this one right here. An overwhelming victory. Like,
ということで僕は角川ドリームズに入れました。
oh my god, it was
僕はですね、
close. This one was closer.
ARB なんですけども、出ましたっていう感じで、これ前シーズンも見たんですけど、白上下で、前回ストレス図っていう、また人間のストレスを表現したっていう、天才コレオグラファーのズルさんの作品だと思うんですけども、これね、発想力すごいですよね。抜群ですよね。クリエーションっていう意味で言うと、ちょっと今日の中で今日一抜けてたというか、見たことない作品っていうのはもちろん誰も
Yeah, it's the concept is phenomenally well done.
でこういろいろこう見せ場があるんですけど、まずその計算されてるんですよね。構成から一人一人の動きとか、ここで合わせるとか、ここでバレるとかっていう相当な練習量、前回の多分裏側見させてもらってるんですけど、相当な練習量がないとできないんですよ。
That formation, this whole transition is probably the coolest part of the whole thing. That was amazing.
あってその実現できるっていうので、抜きのコミカルなところにやっぱ残しつつアート作品ですよね。素晴らしい。はい。ただインパクト大なんですけど、もっと見たいというか、もっと入り組んだとこ見たいっていうんじゃないですか。なんて言ったらいいですかね。もっとタイトな細かいこう。
He wanted to see probably more complexity of choreography, but keep the visuals as is. I think is what the translation is saying. I don't know though. See something more, something that would surpass the stress, and it ended very quickly. It did feel like it ended very fast, but that honestly means that it's just that captivating. Neo hip hop's how they called it. Oh my gosh.
コンテとも言い難いし、また独特ななんかアプローチしてきましたよね。
I hope his hand's okay, because I wonder if that like rubbed him raw having to hold that thing. Satsuki, yeah. We say thank you to him. Thank you for this shout out of a performance. My God.
近代アートじゃないですけど、近代アートのそのデザイナーみたいな。
Yeah. If everybody brought concepts like this every week, I would die. Like it would be. I almost died watching this. Y'all saw me. You got first-hand look at me losing my mind. Whew. I love this league. I love watching this league so much.
今回中はこう空洞の箱を使ってそれをちょっと回すことによってすごく作品になんかインパクトを与えましたよね。さつきの今回の軍がまたその予測不能な動き。
And he even used the box as a fixed point. How did I even not even talk about that? And we put it on the body. Ooh. Oh. God, it was gorgeous. That was gorgeous. That is why. That's why musicality matters. It really does, because it takes you to places. Because the track by itself really has that kind of, it can have that emotional manipulation, that emotional pull. Oh my gosh, when you have dancing that matches that level. That took me somewhere, guys, I tell ya. Wow, perfect. I wonder what that 10 was for, but that was...
の方
ROYALBRATS
シンプルでっていうことをおっしゃってたので、まあどういうものを作ってくるのかなと思ったんですけど、まあ要は音をこう一つずつ表現してって、それがこう重なって。
I agree with that. So starting with one layer and all the different sounds, and then having them build on top of each other is what she said.
こうダンスのショーとして。
I just think it's fun. It's fun, it's comical, and it actually is pretty educational too. It helps people understand different sounds can have different ways of expressing. And that's why I like Kosti and Mare, is because they do that a lot in their choreography on TikTok, and I actually really like some of the choices they make with like the iPhone sounds and stuff like that.
見応えがあったのと思いました。KADOKAWAドリームさんですね。音の具現化っていうところで自分たちと向き合ってみたいな話もあったと思うんですけれども、本当にこう芸術。
Oh, she dropped her foot a little bit too early on that. I just realized that. But the bell bottoms really helped with that.
の中にも溶け込んでいるというか。
The piano melted into their bodies. Yeah. You can tell that I'm still like emotionally invested when they talk about it. I'm like, yeah.
まあ前回のショーは割とこう内を向いて皆さんで一体感を出してた印象だったんですけども、今回のショーは本当外を向いてチームの皆さんで手をつないでいるようなつながっている感じで、チームの団結力みたいなのをすごく感じました。全体の構成だったりとかボックスを使って表現するところだったりとかのまあ完成度ですね、ショーとしての完成度と本当にこう切なく
I'm still getting goosebumps, like residual goosebumps from what that was.
表現してらっしゃる本当瞬間芸術だなと感じました。で、私はKADOKAWAドリームさんの方に入れさせていただきました。KADOKAWAドリームスに入れました。まずavex ROYALBRATSなんですが、まずサスの中に一人ずつ入ってきて一つポーズまたは一つの動きをするっていう、この音に対してこの動き、この音に対してこのポーズみたいなものをしっかり印象付けた後に、まあ、その後その音が出てきたら皆さんそのポーズをやる、パートでやるとか全員でやるっていう見せ方で、
I call this polyrhythms 101 right here. You would play this to showcase what polyrhythms mean. I love it.
っていうのをしっかり初めに印象付けるのが本当にavexらしいなと、計算された緻密な構成もすごく多かったですし、で頭から最後まで刺すだけの頭で
It's so fun.
その中でパフォーマンスをしきるっていう
Put them both in an art gallery and I'll pay money to come see it, that's for sure.
でKADOKAWAドリームスは、まあ、こちらも本当に音のアプローチをする作品だったんですけど、常に進化しているっていう一言で、ピアノの旋律に合わせて振り付けもすごいされていたんですけど、何ですかね、avexとはまた違うくて、より繊細、よりディテールが細かいっていうか、そこにやっぱり評価が高くなってしまって、でガラスのような脆いこう作品、なんか涙が出てきそうな最後作品で、なんか毎回本当に見たことないものを作り出しているKADOKAWAにすごく高評価でした、私は。なので今回はKADOKAWAドリームズの方に入れました。KADOKAWAドリームズさんに1票入れさせていただきました。
You see how close a lot of these point values are?
ブラッツさんの、何よりもメイクとファッションに一番に、興味を、そそられてしまい、何が起きるんだという楽しみがそれ以上のものを、作品として彼らは作り上げてきたので点数は高かったです。まず一人一人にフォーカスを当てて音と体の動きっていうのをアピールした上で、そこから複雑な音を繊細に、取り続ける。8人が一つ一つ大事に取り続ける、それがもうずっとこう魅力的で瞬きができないぐらい、見入ってしまいました。何がすごいって本当に瞬き一つ彼ら ラがしないっていうのも
That's true. I don't think I realized that. They didn't even blink.
そこをまた構成としての
Whoa! Yo, I didn't even catch that. That's cool.
として彼らが
They're like, you can blink when you're not facing the
構
front.
成で見せ、なおかつ音で見せでエンターテインメント性もあり遊びもありですごく、私の中では楽しめた、作品となってます。もうずっと最後まで正直引きつけられていたので、なんかもうなんかあらがあるかなって探したぐらいなんですが、あらなく、見させていただいたので本当に楽しかったです。角川ドリームズさんに関しては、私まず、彼女たちのファッションやメイクを、見て、この音とのアンバランスなのに、アンバランスをなおかつ魅力的に見せるファッション性のある新しい見せ方にもう一番点数を入れたところです。音がピアノで、ピアノの見せ方って本当に難しいと思うんですよ。こういった新しいヒップホップでの見せ方で、ピアノの音一つ一つを繊細に体現するっていうチョイスをしたことが何よりも素晴らしいのに、ここもまたあらがなくって、
They call it a new style of hip hop.
ドキドキワクワクさせ、
But let me tell you,
フロアに入った時、
waving is the style that would embody more of a contemporary realm like this with popping dynamics. Like truly, that's why you see waving in here a little bit more than what you normally see in other sets. It helps. God, this part every time.
物質をこう一緒にステージで見せるって、物質にしっかりと寄り添わないとできないことだと思うので、この見せ方も本当に、すごい練習を重ねないと見せれないものだなと思いました。で、ラストのソロの畳みかけの部分、
Yeah, it was so intimate.
引きつけてくれて、
Because you notice how drawn back the track was. It draws you in. It really does.
瞬きをしてるかしてないかとか、感情がブレるのかブレないのかとかって見てたんですけれども、もう一切ブレずストップしてる人たちも、
Yeah.
センターで表現している人たちも、私の中で本当にパーフェクトな作品だったと思います。
Oof.
なので、角川ドリームズさんに1票入れさせていただきました。
So good. My God, that was incredible. I mean, I remember whenever I watched Cyber Agent Legit, and that was, I think, like the second routine I had watched in the official rounds. Lost my mind. That right there, God bless it, that was incredible. So I am so glad they were rewarded for that. And I do know they do receive an extra point for getting a shutout. So that's another thing too, is that yes, if groups win, they get a certain amount of points. But if they do a shutout where they get all the votes, they get an extra point. So that's going to really help them in the long run, especially if in the case of in the future, if they experience, or if they lose, like they still have that extra point that's going to help them. So I think that was incredible. Justly deserved. Royal Brats brought one heck of a concept. I can agree though, if they brought more complexity within the choreography given, but the polyrhythms, like how they chose to create the polyrhythm and completely separate it into everybody, that was one of the most educational examples of, if you want to know how polyrhythms work in music, just watch that. It really was super fascinating. But yeah, that was, God bless America, that was probably an astronomically incredible match for two completely different reasons, you know, and that makes me so excited. Very unfortunate that Royal Brats got a 0, like they did not get any votes, because I don't know, that could be a bit discouraging for them, but Kadokawa brought it in a half and made me feel feelings in this one, and it was very, very encouraging to see and inspiring to see as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more D.LEAGUE, you can definitely be on the lookout on YouTube. I do tend to post on a schedule, at least trying to play catch up in the rounds, but if you want to see me as I record them in real time and upload them as soon as I have them edited, Patreon's the way to go. That's definitely a place where if you want to dive into more dialogue or really try to have discussions with other individuals who definitely are diving into the show and the league as well, it's a great place to look. And also, I mean, if you just want to hang out on YouTube and wait it out for as they come out, that's totally fine as well. I'll be hanging out in both places. So once again, I am Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye!